Hi, welcome to Strength Reversed. It's Amy. Thank you so much for being here today. I have a fun hashtag. It is hashtag tarot reviewer questions. It's not new, but it's new to me because I'm way behind. And this was first started by Cody at Tarot Readings from a Bitch. And let me tell you how pleased I am that there's another biatch here on TarotTube. Now, I first saw this on Jason's channel, that's Tarot by the Pines, because I first see everything on Jason's channel. He's in the know and I'm the last to know. So he's my connection to the outside world. So thank you, Jason. And also, I love a good scandal, which is why I'm wearing my Sister Wives t-shirt. What does the nanny do? If you know, you know. Okay, it's my guilty pleasure. And it's on tonight. So the other tarot scandal that I think is very spicy is people getting mad. It's kind of popped up in the last, it's bubbling. It's been bubbling for a few years. People thinking that you're a meanie if you say negative things about a tarot deck in a review. I think it is so juicy when people get pissed off about that, but I digress. So there are 9 questions. And I will put them in the description along with those 2 videos. And let's get into it, as the YouTubers say. Number 1, what is your tarot experience? Now, Cody mentioned that she believes that experience matters when it comes to reviewing a deck. And I would tend to agree to a point. I started reading tarot in the late 90s. That's the 1900s. And I do not know how or why. There's no romantic story. I do not remember a time when I didn't know that tarot existed. I knew about it way before I ever started reading it. I can't tell you how that happened. It was just something organic that happened. I would consider myself to be semi-professional in that I do charge money for readings, but I don't do this for a living because that doesn't sound at all like a good time to me. I do believe that having some tarot experience is necessary for a more formal review. For example, if you're getting a deck from a publisher or it's going to be posted in a magazine or something, but not necessarily required for someone who just is an enthusiast and has a YouTube channel and wants to share what they like and dislike about a particular deck. I think anyone can do that. And that's perfectly valid. Number 2, why do you review decks? Well, I review decks because I want to share my new deck with people who get it and appreciate it. And it's kind of boring to share your deck with a non-tarot reader because they don't know what you're talking about and they don't care. And it's just a different experience. So I like to share a deck that I've just acquired with people who get it and who can have a conversation about it, which is why I like to do deck reviews, because people post comments maybe disagreeing with something, or they see things a different way, or they point out something I didn't notice in the deck, and it just helps me learn even more about the deck. So I really like that. And I'm not very attached to whether or not people agree with what I'm saying or whether or not people buy that particular deck. I'm just saying my thoughts on the deck. Number 3, how did you get into reviewing decks? Well, it's easy content. That's pretty much why. But also the whole sharing it with other tarot readers. That's how I got into it. And it's not, again, because I wanted to influence the purchase of any particular deck, but it's just, I like this, I don't like this, what about you? And that's how I got into it. Number 4, do you receive decks for review? No, but I think it would be fun to do that because I like to give a balanced review. I'm not just going to blow smoke. One of my pet peeves is, how dare you say something negative about a deck because the creator is a really nice person. Well, yes, and that's why I didn't say anything bad about them. That's why I'm just talking about my likes and dislikes. No tarot deck is perfect or without flaws. Even my Grand Dame, the Robin Wood, which I should have brought over, but there are some cards in that deck that I don't care for, and I wish that Robin Wood had gone in a different direction with the card, or I just maybe don't like how it looks. But overall, I never want to part with that deck because I love it so much. Unless you create a deck for yourself, it might be perfect for you, and that might be your perfect deck because it's exactly what you want, but it's never going to be able to please everyone else. And when people try to please everyone, usually that is not a very positive outcome because it's insincere, and people can sense that. And it just usually is not a good feeling in the deck because it doesn't feel true. Okay. So I do think deck reviews should be really fair and balanced. If you're just doing a walkthrough and you don't want to talk about what you like and dislike, then fine. Number 5, what kind of reader are you? I would call myself an intuitive reader in that all the studying I've done of the traditional meanings I use as a starting point and as a springboard. And I go beyond the traditional meanings as I see fit in that particular reading based on the energy and the vibes that I'm getting from whatever is out there in the ether, the woo-woo that's out there. And so because of that, it influences the type of decks I like, because I like a deck that sparks my imagination, because imagination and intuition are pretty much the same thing. Number 6, what kinds of decks do you gravitate toward? Because I like a deck that inspires me, I am inspired by bold colors, bright colors. I'm not opposed to a black and white deck like I have the Murder of Crows deck that I really like, but I do like bold, kind of dramatic images, and I need the cards to all be illustrated, because this is why I think I don't like a pip deck, because when I pick up a pip card and it just has 3 cups on it, I start going through the Rolodex of meanings in my head instead of looking at the card and letting my imagination go. I like decks that where I notice something different in the card, or my eye can be drawn to something different in each reading. I love a good RWS because they're sort of plug and play. You don't have to do a whole bunch of studying to start reading with a weight-based deck. You just can. Of course, there are new things to notice based on a new version of the card, but you can take your time doing that and still give readings. Number 7, what do you like in a deck? Honestly, I'm not really super picky about decks. Some people I think are pickier, like they have to have, a certain card will make them ditch a deck altogether, and I'm usually not that picky as long as I like the deck overall. I think my list of what I don't like is more than my likes. I like illustrated pips. I have to have those. I really like for a deck to be very elemental. I like for the different suits to look different. So when I pick up a card, I want to be able to tell right away that that is a wand, or that is a cup, or whatever, just by looking at the colors and the feel of the card. Sometimes a deck will have the suits that all look the same, and I really don't like that. I guess for me, the symbology, one of the layers that's important for me is elements and colors. And I like bold colors, bright colors, very colorful decks usually. It's also important for me to have people in my decks. I'm not picky about the people that are in my decks, but I do like for there to be a balance of masculine and feminine. So I do like to have both men and women in my tarot decks. I usually don't jive very much with female only decks because, first of all, I don't think that that's feminism. Getting rid of men is not feminism, but it feels incomplete if there's not that balance there. I want to see men and women in the tarot deck, and they got to be people and not just animals. So number 8, what do you dislike in a deck? Well, animals only. No can do with the keywords. They really throw me off, and one keyword is such a tiny portion of what that card can mean and the whole possible array of meanings that that card can have. And if there's a keyword staring me in the face, I get fixated and I can't move beyond that. And anything else that pops into my mind, I think, no, it can't be that because that's not the keyword. It just messes with my head. I don't love mini decks and because I feel like, you know, regular playing cards aren't special, and so I like my tarot cards to be a larger size than regular playing cards. So I carry a big purse, so I just cram a regular size tarot deck along with everything else in the free world into my purse. Round decks, I can't. They really, really bother me. I think because there are too many options. I don't like having too many options. So I want it to be either upright or reversed and not 360 degrees of possibility. Chunky borders that minimize the size of the image. I would rather have the image be larger and not have a border that's too overbearing. And I don't really care about astrological correspondences, but it's not a deal breaker to me if they're on the card. It just doesn't add anything for me, so I don't care about that. And if it's not a weight-based deck and you don't have a guidebook, I can't handle that. You have to have a guidebook or the deck is incomplete. If your deck is not based on the Rider-Waite Smith system or the, Thoth system or some system. If it's brand new and unique, it's not ready to be published without a guidebook. Number 9, what do you not care about in a deck? Well, I don't care about borders as long as, like I said, they're not too big. I don't really care about the size of the deck in that if it's oversized, some people really don't like that because it is more difficult to handle oversized cards, but I don't really care. I kind of like that. I don't care too much about card stock. Even though I have my preferences, I'm not going to not buy a deck because it's too glossy or too matte or whatever. It is a bummer when it's difficult to shuffle, but again, if I love the deck enough, the card stock is a secondary consideration. I don't really care about, like I said, the kinds of people that are on my deck. I'm not examining the deck and evaluating it based on whether there's an array of sizes or colors of people. I don't really care about that. And I think that it's not very productive to care about that too much or to criticize a deck creator because they didn't, include a whole, spectrum of people, because you can only really create art from your point of view. And that doesn't mean that no one that's not just like you is going to make it into your tarot deck, but you're not required to take into account everyone's experience and perspective. And so if it doesn't speak to you, then you shouldn't purchase it. And if it does speak to you, then that's fine. I don't really find that someone's weight or color speaks to me differently than based on some other size or color. I mean, I don't really care. I don't care. And I don't really like it when people criticize deck creators. It just seems like a lot of people get criticized one way or the other. Either they didn't include a variety of people, or they did and they're called performative, or there's, it's just, I think you put what you want to put out into the world, and the people who like it will gravitate toward it, and the people who don't like it don't have to like it. I don't really care about nudity in the deck. That's not provocative. So if there's a little pee-pee or a wee-wee or some boobies, I know some people don't like that, and I don't like an excessive amount, but yay, pee-pees and wee-wees. Okay. So I really love a good deck review, and I like honest opinions, and I don't really like watching deck reviews where people are just like, everything is perfect and I love it. There are going to be, there are going to be weak areas in every deck, and there just are. And maybe someone else doesn't see it as a weakness, but I like to hear a lot of people's points of view, I guess, because it helps me understand the deck better. And I just think it's pretty interesting to hear that. There are some decks that are just, they're bad. They're not good, but those are few and far between. And anyway, so I love a fair, honest review. Okay. I'm excited about Sister Wives tonight. I have a whole week of podcasts and gossip videos to watch after every episode of Sister Wives, and I love it. I love it. All right, you guys. Well, tell me what you think about good, bad, and ugly deck reviews, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.